All right. Hello, friends. I was kind of struggling to. I have a lot of video ideas, but I just didn't really want to make those today. This is going to be the Friday video. But I've been really having a lot of trouble coming up with a video idea for my final video. I pumped out 4 videos. I don't know how good these are this week, but I've talked a lot about Epstein and all that geopolitical stuff, but was kind of just struggling to find a video to make, and I've been delving into a lot of Orthodox texts lately, particularly from Father Seraphim Rose. So I'm reading Orthodoxy and the Religion of the Future right now, about a little bit more than halfway through this one, in about a day. Highly recommended, actually. It's not the book I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be more about, the title was misleading. I thought it was going to be Orthodoxy is the Religion of the Future, but it actually discusses more about the Antichrist, the charismatic movements, UFOs, the dangers of Hinduism, things of this nature. And I made a video earlier in the week on Monday called The Spell of Modernity. It's kind of this thesis that I'm developing on my channel. Again, I'm not taking credit for this. Like these are not original thoughts, right? Standing on the shoulders of giants is very much a Christian worldview, but I started watching, I said quite a while ago, I started watching this YouTuber named Jord, who's a very interesting YouTuber. I always call him the based Styx Hexenhammer, because Styx Hexenhammer has gone like full Satan, but it seems like this Jord guy, he's into the occult like Styx, but he doesn't seem like completely devoted to Satanism, if that makes sense. Sorry, had a hair in my mouth. And so yeah, I've been developing this thesis for a while. Also watching Jason Miranchuk. You know, I keep shouting these people out. Benjamin Boyce, hopefully. Benjamin Boyce actually already did comment on one of my videos, but I'm kind of like hoping to get some like attention from these guys, because it'd be cool to talk to them. Yeah, this thesis is that I've been coming up with is the spell of modernity, kind of like, and this book too, like just going into Orthodoxy and like the whole Antichrist discussion. There's another book I'm going to read next. It's called The Soul After Death, also by Seraphim Rose, and I did order. They finally re-released it. This was like you could spend thousands of dollars for this book, but it's a Genesis and Early Man, I think is what it's called, by Seraphim Rose. This is like his magnum opus, apparently. So really excited to receive that, probably sometime in August, so hopefully. And yeah, I'll probably be making more Orthodox videos, more Christian videos. Again, if you guys don't like that, it is what it is. You know, you guys feel free to unsubscribe, check out. But if you guys are enjoying this content, this weird journey, you know, I just kind of made a challenge to myself to kind of make videos every day, and I try to pick topics, but you know, they go all over the place, because this is kind of more of a thoughts channel now. It's more of a rambly channel, which it always was, even when I did Eagles content. That's kind of always it's always been my style, you could say, right? I like to kind of just go off the cuff. That's why live streaming, when I can do it, I think live streaming will be a lot better medium for me than doing these scheduled videos. But yeah, and yeah, of course, shill. You know, I hate doing it. I apologize, but you got to do it with you. Like and subscribe, please. If you enjoy this content, comment down below, share the videos, all that jazz. But yeah, this video, I guess, has me thinking more about my thesis of the spell of modernity, and this whole Antichrist discussion has helped embolden that. And again, the section in here, I've read other things about UFOs, Like I read about Bob Lazar and all that stuff. I've always been fascinated by alien stuff. In fact, one of my favorite film franchises is Alien, and I do have plans as my understanding develops. I want to make like kind of like a analyzing discussion of those movies, because I think the Alien films, specifically Alien 3 and the prequels that everyone hates, Covenant and Prometheus, they actually have a lot more going on than people realize. And everybody seems to love Romulus, which I don't understand. Romulus is pure slop. It's probably the most sloppy of the entire Alien franchise now. We got Alien Earth coming out, and this is all just going to become mind poison at this point, because now Disney's got a hold of it, so it's just going to be absolute garbage. But there's a lot going on in those older Alien films, especially as it pertains to demons, Christian outlook. 'Cause that's something people don't understand. Okay, like everybody likes to pretend that they're like we're atheists. We're Like I watched the movie The Fourth Kind the other day. I don't think it's a very good movie, but it's an interesting movie. But I did notice in the movie, the aliens, if you guys have seen it, spoiler alert if you haven't, but in the movie, the alien presence is clearly demonic. Like you don't ever see the aliens in the movie, but you kind of hear them on the radio or the recorders that they have. You see the weird distorted footage. Again, it's not a very well-made movie. It was made in that time where like found footage and mockumentary style filming, Saw as well. Like it has a lot of those stupid, the Saw movies did it where they would like fast forward the camera like when somebody's panicking, like there's a lot of that in the movie. So again, it's not made well, in my opinion. It was, watching it again, it's like I don't know how people thought this was real. It's like Blair Witch. Blair Witch was way more convincing though. If you guys are old enough to remember when Blair Witch came out, that was legit frightening at the time, because that came out in the 90s and it was like really hard to know. I was afraid to go camping for like months because of that movie. So that worked. But yeah, this movie, again, it does that whole thing. It would have been a better film, is what I'm getting at. It would have been a way better film if they wouldn't have done this. But the concept is interesting, because there's these aliens that are like taking over people, abducting them, right? And again, this book that I'm reading right now, there's a whole long section on here. It's called Signs from Heaven. If you guys just want to read that section of the book, all about UFOs and what they most likely are. And specifically in this book, it says, in past times when people actually believed in God and, went to church and had community, things like this were able to be understood because people had Christian understandings of the world, right? And part of the great tragedy of our modern age is that people don't have those presuppositions anymore, because it's been taken from us, been stripped away from us through the times, right? Through the spell of modernity. And so we create new things, right? Like basically common demonic experiences that have happened throughout all of time. We don't have a way to understand them in the modern world anymore, because we don't have the Christian foundation. So we create things like UFOs or I made a video on Sigmund Freud, right? But I'll kind of expand here. But I think the entire field of psychoanalysis falls into this realm as well. Mental disorders, PTSD, DID, trauma. I'm not saying these things aren't real. It's just that, like I said, in the past, there were ways of explaining these sorts of things in a more metaphysical, spiritual way, instead of just making everything rational, right? It's kind of interesting just reading this, because you think about like UFO encounters and all these things. It's like all of this metaphysical stuff that we don't understand still happens. in the world. It's just that now, because we're enlightened and we have science, we think that we can just explain it all away logically. And the reason I brought up that Fourth Kind movie is there's like scenes in the movie basically where like weird stuff is happening, and everybody around her is kind of like, well, you're just crazy. Like, there's a logical explanation for this. And the movie kind of ends where, you know, it does that stupid Hollywood thing where you kind of don't really know, I guess, if she's crazy or not. But there's like footage of things happening. So again, it's not a great movie, but it just got me thinking about this. It was kind of weird because I watched the movie like 2 days ago, and then I started reading this book yesterday, and the whole section of UFOs came up, and I was like, wait, I just like watched a movie about this. So this kind of got me. I was like, okay, I need to make another video. And what was I going to make it on? So I'll just expand. Maybe I'll just do more videos on this. If you guys like this, you know, let me know down below if you guys like this idea. Again, this will be after a week of these kinds of videos. You know, I covered the Trump stuff some more, but I think I'm done with that for the time being. It's kind of boring. But yeah, this the thesis of this video that I wanted to get across is that one of the reasons, again, why I think the world is just so insane right now is, and I'm starting to get a clearer picture of this, is just because, yeah, like I said, we used to have like Christian understandings. Like, we used to have community, we used to have like real experts, right? The term experts now means like, oh, I paid a guy to go to therapy, but we used to have like people in communities that you would trust, that you'd like grown up with in your family, in your community, that you could go to with issues, right? Like church father or confession or whatever. And in my little Mormon community that I grew up in, like they have that to an extent, but the Mormons suffer pretty deeply from modernity themselves, where they just have a very naive outlook on a lot of things. So it's tough even with them, right? That's another problem with the age, is like we've surrendered all of our suspicions, all of our inhibitions to the state, essentially, to take care of us, right? This is like what is Social Security, right? Like, why do the boomers care so much about it? It's like, well, because they got conned. They basically got conned into paying some kind of investment tax for the rest of their lives to hopefully retire one day. And so this is like this is like the prison of their minds in many ways. This is their big religion of the US dollar, where it's like, you're seeing this now with the whole Trump tariff thing, and the big beautiful bill is like, oh, I just don't want to be taxed on Social Security, which is ridiculous, by the way. You're getting taxed on a tax. But that's the point I'm making, is that because we've rejected true community, like true fellowship with our fellow man, I guess you could say, right? With the people around us in our actual vicinity, the people that actually affect our day-to-day lives, right? Not somebody over in freaking China or Russia or Israel or whatever. People literally in the town you're in. Because we don't have that connection anymore, it's like people's brains have been outsourced, and you can't really get this back. Again, learning about Orthodoxy has made me really appreciate and humbled me quite a bit about the true state of this, is that we are so many generations deep into this now that you know, the church still exists, but there's so many people now that just have no clue. They don't even know. It's like I was talking to my brother about Bitcoin the other day. We were doing the whole, if you guys know about you can take your seed phrase. If you guys know about Bitcoin, basically, you can take your seed phrase, which is how you access your coins, and you can like put it on these bronze plates. You can hammer it in. It's just a way of making it permanent and more secure over time. But anyway, I went over to my brother's house a couple days ago, and because I bought one of those plates, and I did that, and me and him just started talking. We're like, you know, if somebody found this plate, like if some normal person just like walked into our house, say they were like robbing us, right? because we were talking about various things like, what are we going to do with all of our Bitcoin? Like, what, you know, how are we going to store it? You know, should we buy a safe? All this stuff, you know, stuff that people do with gold and silver. But the conversation basically went to like, well, most people don't even know what Bitcoin is still. And if somebody like found this plate in our house, say they like robbed our house, they wouldn't even know what it is. They would just see a metal plate, a bronze plate, and they would probably think something like, oh, it's gold or something, I can sell that. They would have no clue what the seed phrase is. They wouldn't know anything about that. I mean, hell, the people watching this video right now, you guys, again, I'm not trying to be condescending or anything. It's just that, like, maybe you guys don't know about that, right? Well, that's kind of how, you know, spirituality is now in the modern world. And, you know, just the things that the government does, the psyops. People are waking up, don't get me wrong. Like, this whole Epstein development, one of the reasons why I talk about it so much is because it is promising. It is kind of a white pill, even though Trump is like really trying to memory hole that now. Like, he's throwing Obama at us. He's throwing what is it, JFK, MLK. He's just like basically all the government conspiracies that we've been talking about for the past 20, 30 years. He's now like, oh, I'll just give them all of that now. Just don't talk about Epstein. It's almost like Epstein is the core of everything, guys. Getting my video probably flagged by bringing it up again, but whatever. This video wasn't even supposed to be about that, but yeah, it is what it is. I don't really care about YouTube's algorithm anymore. I don't know. I need support from you guys, so I have to set up probably some ways to do that. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. If you guys follow me, the spirit of the age is ignorance, really. It's just, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. That is kind of what it is. And I'm saying this from a very pious position. Like, I am just barely in the beginnings of learning about this stuff in many ways. I've only been studying Orthodoxy heavily for about a year now. It was really like this time last summer when I really started to dive into it. You know, I started watching Jay Dyer streams, but I didn't really start reading the books or diving into it until last year. And a lot of the books I haven't even read yet, like I said, because they were out of print or really expensive, hard to get. But now a lot of them are getting, there's ways to get them that are not so expensive. So I'm not trying to come at this from like, I'm better than you. That's not the point of all this. In fact, one thing about learning about this stuff is that, you know, I've just got so much more to learn. It's kind of overwhelming. It's a whole paradigm shift. It's like that scene, again, the kind of cliche, that scene in The Matrix where he talks about how at a certain age they don't even try to wake people up from the Matrix because they reject it. That's kind of what this is when you start learning about it. You have to change the way you think about literally everything, especially in the modern world, because everything in modernity is just I'm trying to say this without YouTube getting, we'll say there's a certain tribe of people, right, that were against Christ. Everything we live in right now is influenced by them in many ways. And I don't mean like, I'm not talking like they run everything. I'm talking about from the metaphysical, you know, Talmudic, you know, you could say charismatic, Hindu, all this stuff, right? Like, these are all very foreign religions to our people. And I'm not saying America was like a Christian nation, because in many ways it wasn't. But the spirit of truth cannot reside outside of Christ, is kind of what I'm getting at, outside of Logos. If you want to go to the old, I mean, even, you know, like someone like Stefan Molyneux can even recognize this, right? Like he goes back to like Aristotle, right? I'm talking about the Greek understanding of the world combined with Christianity is the ultimate truth that has ever existed. And we don't have that anymore. Is kind of that is the ultimate spell of modernity, is that we don't have that. It's completely clouded our vision to what is actually going on metaphysically, spiritually, and our souls are at stake, and we come up with these copes. That's really all it is. We come up with these copes like, oh, it's a UFO, right? I saw a UFO, or oh, I've got dissociated identity disorder, right? Like, they just, it's like the weirdest thing. It's like people, like I was diagnosed when I was young with ADHD, right? We just hear these medical creations, that's what I'm going to call them, these medical creations, these diagnoses of, psychoanalysis or medicine or whatever. And COVID has completely shattered the paradigm. So, I mean, even the normies understand this, right? Like, nobody regrets not getting it. You guys know what I mean. I haven't met a single person that's like, oh man, I wish I would have got it. You know what? If I could go back 5 years in time, I would have just got it. No, I've literally met nobody that's ever said that. So that really blew the doors off of this, of what they've created, the creation, the myths, right? Because that's another thing about rejecting God, is you have to create all your own myths. But it's all just, again, you go read about the history of the church, the scriptures, like this is all stuff that has shown up in the past in different forms, right? Before UFOs, it was just actual demons. It's just that we don't have an understanding of demons now, so we think they're aliens. It's like, what is an alien? Well, an alien is a demon, quite literally. That's why I want to cover the Alien movies. Like E. Michael Jones has an amazing thesis where the original Alien movie, the reason why it was made was because the sexual revolution had messed people up so much. That's why when you watch Alien, the first Alien, really the creature itself is a, it's an organism that essentially violates you and bursts out of you violently. So the metaphor there is that it's basically a sex demon, if that makes sense. That's why you can look at any horror movie, right? So any horror movie that deals with these kind of things, and this could be a whole series of videos that I make, because every horror movie has, I just don't want to watch the horror movies. That's the problem. There's a lot of them I just don't want to watch. I don't want to subject my brain to especially nowadays, the movies are so freaking violent and disgusting. But that's what basically horror movies are, is you're just portraying demons on screen. Various traumas, experiences, things you've gone through, right? And so again, to kind of go back to what I was saying, like all of these diagnoses and all of these psychiatric, mental illness, whatevers, this is all just because we don't recognize the demonic and the spiritual in our lives anymore. So we have to come up with copes. We literally have to create new myths. So we create things like UFOs, and then you got Joe Rogan talking about this all day. Dude, bro, like, did you hear about, there's like these flying discs, bro? And they'll have like 3-hour discussions about this. And again, there probably is some UFOs, you could say, but it's probably just government craft. I'm talking about like aliens, like the actual close encounters, things like that. And then to go back to psychoanalysis is just, you haven't gone through the suffering necessary to heal the trauma. It's that simple. Again, Stefan Molyneux talked about this years ago. He was 100% right on this. He said how did he say it exactly? He basically said that the only barrier for you to progress in a positive direction in your life is genuine suffering, something like that. And what he means by that is it's like every vice, every problem you have in front of you is because you haven't gone through the necessary suffering to get over that, right? And a lot of that comes with self-knowledge. You have to know yourself. You have to understand your vices and your weaknesses and your strengths. You just have to be able to get over it. And a lot of it in this modern world is just they're coping because, well, for one, the establishment doesn't want you to know yourself, because if you know yourself, you're going to be untraumatized and thus much harder to control, right? The spell of modernity won't work on you as much. So there's a whole complex that encourages you to not get over these things, right? Because they don't. If people are genuinely healthy, then that means that the government is less needed. I mean, this is so obvious. It's so obviously painful and so ridiculously stupid that it's that simple that it hurts sometimes to think about that the lengths that they go to do this to people is just absolutely insane. So that's kind of the video, guys. I don't know what I'm going to title this. I guess is you know, the spell of modernity part 2. I don't know. It's a running thesis of my channel. I'm starting to open my eyes, and this is very holistic. It's happening all over the place. You know, like one of the things, especially nowadays, that I've noticed is, and they talk about it in this book, is that in the past, the doors of perception, as you could say, were a lot more closed. Like, people had to go into like rooms and create temples to worship demons. But now the floodgates have been so open, and this could be because of the internet, because in many ways these like, right, you watching this video right now, having a phone that can watch videos, this in and of itself is a door of perception that you're able to now open and access. And so the doors of perception have been like open to everyone, willing or unwilling, right? This is the concept of manufactured consent. Even if you didn't want this, right? I think I've told the story in this channel. The first time my grandmother saw something pornographic on the internet by accident, and my grandma, she's long since passed, but she was so innocent because she came from a different time, that when she saw just like an image of a girl basically in like a scantily clad outfit, you could say, I don't even know if it was actual pornography, it actually like brought her to tears, and she had like an emotional reaction to it. And so this is a good visualization of what I'm talking about. The doors of perception have been so open that we're so numb to the demonic, we don't even recognize it when it's right in front of our face. And I'm guilty of it too. You know, like I'm wearing a Ice 9 Kills shirt, right? This was a band that I used to listen to, and I got this shirt at a concert, and their whole theme is like demonic music, demonic metal, essentially. And that's kind of just what it is now. Like we're very numb to this stuff, and that's what I mean about learning this. You have to go in with humility, because you have to unlearn everything, and you have to start practicing theosis, which is walking with God. For those who don't know, you need to basically you need to start to de-shackle yourself, question your presuppositions, de-shackle yourself from the just the things that have latched onto you. That's what trauma really is, I think. It's just these things that have latched onto you over life. You could think of it like stress, right? Like as you get older, you know, the stresses of your life start to build up. Well, that's kind of how it happens on the spiritual realm, I'm finding too, is these things don't just leave. They're ancient. They've been around. That's the thing too. They've been around for thousands of years, these demons. I mean, they've affected people before you. They will affect people after you. They're affecting you right now. They're probably standing around me as I make this video, right? They're in another door of perception, right? Like we don't perceive them, but we can perceive them. This stuff is very real, is what I'm trying to get at. I'm not making light of this at all. So that's I hope all this makes sense. Again, this is a developing thesis. I'm going to keep making videos probably on this topic as I continue to read and learn, but I don't know, I just didn't know what to make, so this is kind of more of a rambly video. I'll have to figure out a title for it later. But yeah, I just really have been thinking about this a lot, especially with now that the whole Trump election stuff is over, right? It's like, you know, that distraction is over, and it's like now we can really look at what's going to happen, like what's happening, what is the plan, what are they doing now. And I talked in the past about, I think the tech thing is going to be the next thing, but I'm not going to go into that too much here. But it's very important to be aware. And this book was written in the 70s apparently, so like, again, like I said, these demons, they don't just go away, they persist. What is the meme, right? The demons persist, but so do I, right? It's kind of a cool Christian crusader meme. But yeah, that's kind of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the content on the channel. I'm going to be making a poll here very soon asking what time is better for you guys for me to release these videos, because I've been releasing them at 4 p.m. and they start getting views like the next day usually. I've noticed the movie reviews get a lot more views in, so I might start doing movies again, but like I said, I'm gonna do them from a very different perspective. So the End of Hollywood series is for modern slop, but there are good movies out there that I would like to talk about. And so yeah, look out for that. There will also be an unboxing video. I'm not going to reveal in this, but I actually did buy a new game. So like a game, I mean a game that just came out that actually piqued my interest, but it hasn't arrived in the mail yet. So you'll see that when it comes out. You'll probably, again, I don't know why I'm saying that. You'll be seeing the video because I scheduled these out. But I'm getting closer to where I'm only about a week out now scheduling. So I am getting closer to where, because of the demands of work and life lately, I haven't really been able to make the videos like I want. So I'm getting closer to where if I don't start making a whole bunch, I'm gonna start. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to release them at the exact same time every day. Is kind of what I'm getting at. So that's why I'm gonna make the poll. I'm gonna ask you guys, like, I'm basically gonna start doing a little bit of an overhaul again. Like, what do you guys like for the videos? You guys have already kind of voted that you do want 5 a week, but you know, I can't promise that I can make that happen anymore, guys. We'll just have to see. I'll try, but something I'm noticing when I make 5 videos a week, I feel like the quality isn't as good because I feel like I'm forced to make it. And the reason I'm doing it, the reason I initially wanted to do it is I wanted to, you know, test the algorithm. I don't really know how YouTube works anymore, so I wanted to like test the algorithm. Like, okay, if I just make up a lot of content, like, will the algorithm pick me up? And it still could, but so far it picked up like 1 video and that gained a little bit of traction, but it hasn't done it since. And so I don't understand why. It could just be the content, right? The video that picked up traction was about millennials being broke. I've noticed certain topics will pick up traction, but I don't necessarily want to talk about those things all the time. That's the problem. Like, I don't really want to. I've said enough about millennials being broke, right? Like, we understand this for the most part. So anyway, that was a long ramble, but I wanted to just kind of give you guys gives you guys a little bit of an outlook for the future of the channel. And again, if you guys have watched all the way into this 33 minutes, you guys are the real reason I make the videos, because you actually watch them. And so thank you so much. If you're also new and you got all the way to the end of this and you enjoyed any part of it, I appreciate you watching. Please like, I'm going to stress that too, really just like the videos. If you watch the video, please just like the video. It's going to help a lot. Comment down below. And yeah, I hate shilling, but there it is. I will talk to you guys on the next one, and God bless.